Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our first of 4 quarterly town hall events. My name is Scott Levine. I am the Computer Society Membership Manager, and I will be your host and moderator. Today's guest is the IEEE Computer Society's 2024 President, Jyotika Athavale, and she will share her vision and strategy during her term as president. Afterwards, we'll have our AMA session where we had a ton of questions submitted in advance. And while we might not answer your questions specifically, we will do our best to cover as many questions and topics as we can. If you have a question you want to submit, please click the chat box button you see on our screen and enter it. Along with our president, we have 2 members of the IEEE Computer Society's executive staff. We have our executive director, Melissa Russell, and the Society's membership and education director, Eric Berkowitz. So without further ado, let's get started and welcome in our 2024 president, Jyotika Athavale. She is currently director of Silicon Lifecycle Management and RAS Architecture at Synopsys. Prior to Synopsys, she was the lead technologist for functional safety architecture at NVIDIA. And prior to NVIDIA, Jyotika was president engineer at Intel Corporation, leading corporate-wide RAS and functional safety architectures. Jyotika is an experienced leader and influencer in emerging technologies and international standardization initiatives. She currently also serves as the chair of the IEEE P2852 Standard of Functional Safety Interoperability. For her leadership work in standards, she was awarded the 2023 IEEE Standards Association Standards Medallion, and she also received the Computer Society's Golden Core Award for dedication, leadership, and service to the Society in 2022. Jyotika was recognized as a distinguished alumna by her alma mater, VGTI in Mumbai. She has authored patents and many technical publications in various international conferences and journals, and she has pioneered and chaired international workshops and conferences in the field of dependable technologies. So without further ado, Jyotika, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Scott, for that kind introduction and welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining today and for participating in our very first Computer Society All Hands meeting for 2024. So really excited to have you here and looking forward to a great discussion with all of you and hear your ideas and inputs. So we'll go through a few slides I prepared today just to kind of provide an introduction about what the Computer Society's objectives are, what is my vision for the year, and describing some of the activities that we have planned for this year. So we'll go through that and then we'll open it up for Q&A after that. And thanks to all of you who already submitted questions ahead of time. Appreciate your inputs. And so we're going to walk through the slides here. So first of all, the key question on why volunteer with the IEEE Computer Society. So all of you joined here are volunteers and are committing your time, passion for service, spending time driving initiatives, various activities across the Computer Society. And we really appreciate that. I think this is really, really important and valuable to the community at large, to advance the field, and that when we talk about the field, we're talking about the entire spectrum of all of the computing technologies in every different domain. And as we know, these domains are becoming more and more interdisciplinary, so it's becoming very important, to look at it cohesively, to look at it holistically, and drive the evolution and growth of the technical area. So you may have expertise in one specific stream, but the impact of that is now growing across various different domains. Making connections, so this gives us a sense of community. We grow our network by engaging with other professionals, other members across the geos, across different application domains, market segments, across academia, government, and industry. Networking is really valuable to understand, the perspectives across various different technologies, and to drive our career and steer our career in the direction that we would like to pursue. And so propel your career, that kind of, was a kind of segue into that, sharpening our professional skills. And we do have activities that we'd like to drive across all of our membership, across every phase of your career, right? So starting from student members through young professionals to experienced members, the activities and the value proposition of the Computer Society really is to serve the needs of all of our members in each phase. So that is basically the three main areas in which we think that the Computer Society is important and provides a value proposition, but there are many more benefits of being involved with the Computer Society. So with respect to our membership, we have a global reach. For over 75 years, the Computer Society has empowered people who advance technology by delivering resources and solutions that computing students and professionals need to achieve goals at all stages of your career. We have presence across geos in all of the continents, 375,000 plus community members in 168 countries with Computer Society members. We have 654 global chapters, 30 technical communities, and 21 STCs. So really, a global reach across various different regions, geos, and it is this, diversity in terms of our reach that is our strength. So, we do encourage more of our members to participate, to bring in those valuable perspectives, across regions and all of the diverse inputs that they have. With respect to our technical communities, these are the focal points for our society's activities within a specific technical discipline. The technical communities directly influence all of our program boards, right? So standards development, conferences, publications, as well as educational activities. And we have various different technical communities, as you can see the list here, and that's growing, right? So as we continue to evolve and innovate, we are at this very critical pivotal moment in the technological innovation right now, where we are, like the technological innovation and inventions are growing and exploding, and we are continuing to add more and more areas in which we can support innovation. So continuing to grow this area of technical communities. Then with respect to our publications, we have several different magazines and journals, including transactions, letters, and open access journals. Our flagship magazine there, the Computer Magazine, where a lot of you participate and submit contributions. Thank you for that. Various other magazines here, including the Computing in Science and Engineering, IEEE, Annals of History of Computing, Graphics and Applications, Intelligent Systems, and so on. Also various transactions, IEEE transactions are focused on various different technologies, and where we also have opportunities to add more and grow, this portfolio that we have currently. But just to kind of give you a flavor of the different kinds of publications that we provide. And then the next one here is standards. So back one. So we work very closely with the IEEE Standards Association, which just kind of works across the various societies. And within the Computer Society, we have various different standards committees, which are organized by specific technologies. And within the standards committees, we have working groups that again work closely with the IEEE SA and also with the Computer Society, which are driving new initiatives, new PARs. We have study groups that get formed within those committees, and once the study groups are ready, they drive new PARs and form new working groups. We also collaborate with other societies, on joint development where we can, as well as externally with other SDOs, other standards development organizations like ISO or IEC or UL. So, our liaisons are especially valuable because, we have that cross connection and we avoid doing redundant work where it's not needed, but, work to have more of a synergistic relationship, with our partners. 217 active standards and growing, right? So this is certainly one active area within the computer society, one that I am closest to as well. Prior to joining the Board of Governors, this is where, and I, also currently driving standards development. So here's some of the standards activity sponsored committees that we have. There's the AISC for AI standards. We have blockchain, cloud computing, cybersecurity, various others, functional safety, the IEEE 802 standards, which I'm sure all of you know about, test technology standards, and various other committees that are driving new standards development in many different areas. Some of these committees are entity-based, where a certain company or university has to be a member, but a lot of them are also individual based where participation is free and anyone can join and participate in a standards committee and contribute to the development. So we also have various other program boards. As we mentioned, I don't have a slide on each one of those, but besides the publications and standards, we have a lot of conferences that are sponsored by the Computer Society. We also have work that we are doing in education and certifications. So there's activities across various different program boards, and we'll cover some of the activities that we have planned for this year. But I just wanted to also share, what is our mission, right? So the purposes of the society shall be scientific, literary, and educational in character. The society shall strive to advance the theory, practice, and application of computer and information processing science and technology, and shall maintain a high professional standard among its members. So we want to be the leading provider of any content that is related to computing, while we maintain that partnership with and our strategic cooperation with all of the external organizations that are also doing great and valuable work in this area. The society shall promote cooperation and exchange of technical information among its members, and to this end shall hold meetings for the presentation and discussion of technical papers, shall support lifelong professional education and certification, shall develop standards, shall publish technical journals, shall provide technical and professional products and services, and shall, through its organization and other appropriate means, provide for the needs of its members. So, it's really a big scope, but not really limited to the specific program boards. We also have various ad hoc committees that drive new initiatives, and looking for new ways in which we can add value to our computing community. So with respect to our Computer Society strategic plan, here are the three key goals that we are trying to align our activities and initiatives towards, that we are executing to as the year progresses. So the first goal is to engage more students and early career professionals, right? So we do have a lot of student members. We want to make sure that we are adding, we understand their needs, we provide value to help them, grow their skills, develop their career, plan their career, have that guidance, mentoring, as well as, all of the technical knowledge and skills that they would need to to drive their career forward. Especially as students start their first job and enter the professional field or the workforce. I do understand it's a challenge trying to fulfill the demands of a new job while maintaining a membership with the Computer Society. But in fact, the Computer Society as a support system to help them, as they try to drive their way forward and to support their needs. So we're trying to drive that linkage. Engage more industry individuals and organizations. So this is another one of the key objectives for this year. We do have very good representation in the Computer Society from academia, and also some and a great linkage to government as well through various different organizations and our partners. We have good engagement with industry, but we can grow that further, right? So we are driving some new initiatives this year as well to drive more engagement, and I think to establish the value proposition, to industry as to how can they connect with academia and government by being members of the Computer Society, and how can that bring value to them through the research and other activities that are driven in those entities to help them towards the practical application of those, research topics to the market, so to drive their products in the market. And then leading the way in new technical areas, so there's no dearth of opportunity here, especially today, as we are delving into new technological areas, a lot of innovation happening across various different technologies. We're looking at the intersection of application domains and trying to dive there. We're seeing the interdisciplinary aspect of, the technologies as they're blending together. So continuing to lead that in various different ways, and in leveraging our work in standards, conferences, publications, etc. All right, so we also have our three themes. So our three themes kind of span across the various different activities that we drive day to day, and those three themes are to empower and diversify our volunteer base, to enable nimbleness and execution, and to maintain our focus on D&I, or DEI as we're now calling it. So these three, we're committed to these three themes. We believe that if we do this, if we focus on these three themes, that we will have more robustness in terms of our outcome of the work that we are driving day to day, more efficient, more expedient. And so, these are the themes that resonate with us as we drive towards our goals. So in the beginning of the year, there was an article in the Computer Magazine where I had shared some of my thoughts, in the Make Your Mark article. But towards that mission, as described, in the article, we are driving various different initiatives this year. This is to highlight a few of these that are being driven by various members across the Computer Society, and along with wonderful support from our staff. So I just wanted to thank you all for the support, the contribution, the time, and all of the effort that you are making to realize the initiatives, because it is certainly valuable. It's certainly recognized and certainly visible. So appreciate everything that you do. We have a key focus on industry, D&I, and early career, as we as we discussed on the previous slide. And so those are the three buckets, so to speak, in which we are driving our initiatives this year, aligned with that mission. So the first thing, the beginning of this year, we had the 2024 Technology Trends Report that was published by the committee that was led by Dehan and his team, and it was an outstanding report that brought together many authors from across the globe that contributed to that report. This especially is very valuable because it helps drive a roadmap of activities that we can execute too within the Computer Society. It helps us identify which are the key technologies that we should focus on, across those program boards that we have, and also where we have gaps and what we can do better, to align with the needs. And as you know, these technology trends are based on or prioritized based on the impact of humanity, as well as the the maturity in this year. And what's going to follow after that is the 2024 Megatrends report that is due to be published end of this month. So a lot of this work will also drive activities in IEEE Future Directions, which is, some of that work there is sponsored by the Computer Society, and that helps us drive these technologies forward. So various different initiatives there, including the metaverse and others being driven by Future Directions as well. A new summit, so to align with some of the objectives that we, some of our goals that we identified, such as to drive engagement with industry, as well as on our, early career professionals. We are initiating new summits this year. So the first one is a technical summit, the IEEE RAS in data centers, focused on challenges seen by the server data center community in reliability, availability, and serviceability. So this is the first summit that we are hosting in Santa Clara in June this year, and we have received very enthusiastic response from industry, right? So from the hyperscalers, the chip vendors, the IP providers, the tools companies, and they are actively driving this summit actually because they are part of our program committee, and most of our program committee is comprised of these individuals from the industry, from the RAS industry. So we've also collaborated with OCP, which is the Open Compute Project, which has reached out and offered support and sponsorship because they also see the value in this summit, and that also represents a conglomerate of various industries in OCP. So really excited about this first summit. The other one is the Global Chapter Summit that we just announced this morning as well on LinkedIn and social media. This is follows in the heels of the Chapter Summit that was inaugurated in 2019. And so we're doing this to invite some of the key chapter leaders across the globe, and to exchange their ideas, to cross-pollinate, initiatives, to drive engagement further, and to learn from each other. So it's going to be a day-long event in June, and so looking forward to that. And then we are looking forward to also growing this and adding more summits if we can, through the year, so to continue to align with our mission. There's a new Sustain Tech Expo that is being inaugurated in collaboration with a few other societies that will be in August this year. So on a very important topic of sustainable technologies. So we are also very excited to drive it. As you all know, this is extremely important to IEEE, given our mission for advancing technology for the impact. For the benefit of humanity, and sustainability is important for all of us. So this is planned for end of August in San Diego, and please, I hope you will participate and join us for this event. Then there's several new standardization initiatives that are being driven out of the various technology standards committees across the Computer Society. Of course, new standards in AI, goes without saying. There's a lot of advancement there in the metaverse, in functional safety. We've also recently joined some of the initiatives that are being driven by NIST in AI across various different working groups. There's the one that I'm currently chairing on P2851.1 on functional safety interoperability, which also has a part that is going through the approval this week, but various different initiatives across multiple technologies. Anyone can join, anyone is free to start a new initiative or volunteer to participate in an existing working group or study group. So a lot of opportunity there to contribute. Key collaborations with partner organizations. We've initiated an ad hoc that is driven by our second VP this year, that's Niels, who is driving this initiative to drive strategic cooperation and partnership with external organizations. OCP was one that I talked about earlier, UN, ISO, but also internally. So we are trying to do more work in collaboration with other societies, like the RAS Summit that I talked about earlier is being done in collaboration with the IEEE Reliability Society. Our channel to some of the work with the government in the United States is IEEE USA, and especially important for activities related to the CHIPS Act and other initiatives that are very relevant for us today. We have the Computer Society Diversity and Inclusion Fund, and this was started, several years ago. But we have the D&I committee that has been initiated, being led by Grace this year, our first VP, and various activities planned. But we will have a call for proposals as we do each year for inviting folks to submit their ideas, and then there will be grants made based on the selection of those proposals. Similarly, we also have the 2024 Emerging Tech Program kicked off as we did last year, and so call for proposals for that will also be sent out soon, and those top proposals will be selected. And then there's other ad hoc initiatives. So I talked about the one on strategic cooperations. There's one on ethics and integrity. There's several others that were proposed at our Board of Governors meeting in January. So really looking forward to that activity and new initiatives that have been proposed by various members across the board. And then each of the VPs of each of the Computer Society Program Board areas has highlighted their top 3 initiatives that they want to do each year. So, in standards, in conferences and publications, and all of the program board areas, we have, key initiatives. What are the new things we want to do? What do we want to achieve in 2024? And so we'll cover those in a future all hands meeting. We plan to have 4 meetings this year, so 1 in each quarter. And we'll have one of those sessions will be, with all of our 5 program board VPs, and they will delve into their top 3 initiatives at that meeting. So just wanted to also quickly share about this upcoming IEEE RAS and Data Centers Summit. The dates here, June 11th and 12th. They'll be in Santa Clara here, and will be in conjunction with our board meeting as well, which happens that week. This is the first, IEEE summit on RAS. Is an area where we don't have any conferences today in IEEE, so kind of as a whole. But in fact, there is no RAS conference in the industry in general, so which is why it was an opportunity for us to take the leadership and drive the participation from industry. Registration for this will open later this month. And so, we'll send out an announcement when it is, but it's going to be a day and a half summit with, technical track with some oral presentations. And then we'll also have some invited speakers doing keynotes and visionary presentations and panel sessions. So should be a very interesting, summit. And then we're also going to open up a lot of time for networking and, engagement, across the participants, and also with our board, such that they'll have an opportunity to have that, discussion and engagement with each other. And then finally, also wanted to share the slide on this, the Global Chapter Summit for the chapter leaders that we've invited to participate. So this will be June 15th, which is the Saturday, and that's the same week as we have as the board meeting. We'll also kick it off evening of June 14th, and Eric, who's on the call here today, is helping to organize this together with Kobe and several other folks. So looking forward to a lot of good discussions and ideas being discussed, at this chapter summit, which will be face to face. And we really missed this interaction, over the pandemic. So really looking forward to bring it back and bring back that energy and sharing. So that's my last slide. So just, how do you get involved? lots of opportunities. If you haven't already, go to our website. Feel free to nominate yourself for any open positions, to volunteer various different roles. There's various ways in which you can participate. If you have any ideas, if you don't see something there, you can share your idea with us, and we'd love to hear from you. So thank you again for your time, participation, for your service. And with that, I'm going to open the floor. I'm going to turn it back to Scott, and he'll drive the Q&A. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jyotika. That was a great presentation. I think it was a great overview of the 2024 year for the Computer Society. So one of the first questions we got in, you touched on this, I think you gave a pretty high level, but I think there's a few things we can add, if there's anything you want to add. There any additional details you want to include about your plan for the year? We had a couple questions about people want to know your vision details for the upcoming year.
Yes, thank you very much, Scott, for asking. So, our plan is to continue to drive initiatives. We are opening the floor. We have new initiatives, new proposals coming in from our membership. So what I described on the slide was, the initiatives that we have in plan as of today, just the key ones, but we have new initiatives that are being proposed as we speak. And so if those are funded and as they move forward, we will make announcements, about additional initiatives that we will be driving through the year. And as we have these quarterly meetings, these quarterly all hands meetings through the year, we will also share, what we are doing there with respect to activities specifically focused on our early career professionals, our D&I community, as well as industry, members. So although we have this plan, I just wanted to mention that we don't have to just stick to this plan. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your ideas. So, given these goals, if you have any suggestions on what else we can do, or how else we can drive our mission forward, I'd like to hear from you. And I just wanted to mention that one of our goals is to empower you, our members. And so I don't want it to be just like a tops down, pass down of this is what we are going to do, but I want to hear from you so that we can take your input into account and we can drive our path forward, steer it based on your ideas and input. So really looking forward to that.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Yeah, I
Thanks,
think that'll
Scott.
be, yeah. So along the lines, and hopefully this isn't too repetitive, you talked about some new initiatives in 2024, like the Global Chapter Summit. We have the Sustain Tech, continuing the D&I and emerging tech projects. Are there any other new initiatives in 2024?
There are some new initiatives that we are planning. Actually, so we'll be working on those over the next few weeks. So we'll make those announcements, look for those announcements early Q2. So like beginning April or so, we'll start to announce those. But those will be, focused on industry. So even though we're doing an event, for example, here in focused on a specific area here in Santa Clara, our goal is to engage with, the entire spectrum, of our industry. And so we want to drive more initiatives there. We want to do more work in our specific conferences, driving activities, focused on engaging more D&I, membership, engaging and helping our student members. So, looking to see how we can drive more activities with our chapters, with our industry membership, our stronger ties with government. So just looking to see how we can do more there. So without going into specifics yet, because we are still kind of pending approval on some of those new initiatives, I just wanted to give a heads up that there's more to come. We're looking to share those with you and looking for your inputs as well, so we can, you know, drive things forward based on your input.
Awesome. Yeah, I look forward to working with you on some of those probably, and um, making those opportunities available to the membership. That's what we're here for.
Thank you, Scott.
This question came in, one of the questions we came in from that we got took early. When people I thought this was a great one. This is from Ford. He asks, how can I maximize the benefits and resources of my membership? And what I really like about this question is, he's like, what are your favorite and most used resources?
Yeah, could you say the second part again? Sorry, Scott.
Sure. What are your favorite and most used resources of the membership that you use?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question. So, we do work with limited resources, and that's, a challenge that we see day to day. I think that in my role, and again, day-to-day engagement in the computer society is mostly from a, standards perspective outside of the role that I have in governance. And there, we do engage with our volunteer members, from again, from industry, from academia as well. But it's always a balance, trying to prioritize the work that we are doing there as a volunteer with our day jobs. And so we try to account for that as we plan our activities. We do get excellent support from our staff, so that really helps. But I would say that, if there is uh, a specific challenge that you're seeing with respect to resource, please do reach out and let us know how we can help. So if it's for a specific project, for a specific area, where you're seeing that gap, perhaps we can try to drive more awareness and pull in more volunteers. One of the things I found useful is sharing the work that we are doing, building that awareness in the community, because often there are people who want to participate, who want to engage, but they're just not aware of the initiative or the project that you're working on. So, sharing that information online or, across the community really helps to build that engagement and pull in more volunteers who are looking to contribute, to make a difference, but they're not aware of the opportunity. So, for example, our work in the P2851 standards, our participation grew a lot from last year to this year, through that awareness campaign that we've been doing, in conferences, on social media, in publications. But also, we try to remove some of the barriers. So, for example, we went from a entity-based model to individual-based model, where it was expensive for members to join as an entity, with the membership fee was pretty steep, and so we removed that barrier, made the membership free for joining, as in the standards committee. We are changing that to an individual-based membership, and now we have a lot more volunteers who've joined and are helping with the draft development. So those are some of the things I did, I guess, in in the standards space, to remove the challenges and barriers and grow and diversify and expand our membership. But on a case by case basis, we certainly willing to hear your barriers and your challenges and see what we can do to help.
Great. No, that's very helpful. We had a question from Mega. I think you touched on this briefly. Are there any strategic collaborations that the Computer Society is working on to establish with industry partners?
Yes, it is a great question. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. So outside of, what we talked about in the summits, where we are working to to pull in that engagement, across various different application domains, various different entities across that supply chain, from the IP companies, the tools companies, the chip vendors, the system companies, and then the end manufacturers. We're also working with other organizations which are, heavy in terms of their industry or industry focused. And one of the examples, as I mentioned, was like, for example, the Open Compute Project, or OCP, which is kind of this conglomerate of, industry uh, companies that are, supporting various initiatives within it. So by joining forces with an organization like that, we we are able to drive more engagement across all of those companies that are part of that organization. And similarly, there are other organizations like that as well. So for example, in standards, we are driving liaisons with other SDOs like ISO and SAE and IEC, etc., where we also have participation from OEMs and other and manufacturers in various application domains. So that's another way of strengthening our tie. But then another one is also in solving the problems that we are seeing today, for example, and there's a big opportunity in the CHIPS Act on what we can do there with respect to workforce development. How can we help companies to build their workforce, to build their skills here, across the globe. And we're working to see how we can help partner internally, across IEEE to join forces and help out in that very, important and strategic area as well.
Great. Yeah, no, I think there's sounds like there's a lot of opportunities coming along in 2024. Let's see. Our next question, looks like we have a few questions about volunteering, so I'll sort of group these together. What are some different opportunities for student chapter volunteers to contribute after they graduate?
I think that is a great question. So I think last year I had the opportunity to travel with Eric to India, where we have, in that region 10, we have a lot of membership, and I was really, very pleasantly surprised to see how much engagement and energy there was in the chapters there, and a lot of initiatives that they were driving. So one of the reasons we are doing the global chapter leaders summit is exactly to share those ideas on what we can do to better engage our, what are the ways in which we can better engage our students and young professionals, what are the different kinds of activities that they can drive. But whether it's student competitions or whether it's local events that are being done in conjunction with the local community there, and invited speakers from local industry, doing small events that are being sponsored by the local companies, mentoring, certification programs, training programs. Uh, so various different, topics, webinars, inviting a distinguished speaker. But there's a ton of different activities. And I look forward to having that discussion at our Global Chapter Leaders Summit, hearing all of those ideas and then really deploying those across the chapters. So as for knowledge sharing and for ideas sharing, ideation, right? That will drive there so that we can all learn from that and benefit from that, and then drive the engagement, in our chapters, in our local chapters, but then also see how we can drive new chapters in areas where we currently don't have presence. So yeah, looking forward to to that discussion in June.
That sounds great. Um, so you mentioned it, you're involved with standards a lot, but can you take us through how you first got involved in the Computer Society and your sort of volunteer journey to president?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thanks for asking. I'd be happy to. So, I was a student member of IEEE, back when I was in college, and I started my first engagement by writing a paper, together with my advisor, and that was published. And then I think over the years, that was my main involvement with IEEE was with through publications and papers, and I wasn't aware of other ways in which I could contribute. But then I slowly started getting involved in the technical committees of the various conferences, as a reviewer, as mentor to new papers, new publications. And so that was kind of the next step. And finally, when I started my role in the functional safety area is when I started to get more involved in standardization because the work in that domain is driven by compliance to standards. And so, standards development is a very important aspect of functional safety. So that is when I started to participate in different um, standards committees across the various SDOs. IEEE was an important one because at that time they were just starting a new standard on, the IEEE B2851, which I then joined and then, nominated myself for an officer role. And a year later, I started chairing that committee. Um, in parallel, there was an opportunity for, joining the Board of Governors that, I was made aware of. And so I, sent in my application and went through the process. And it's like after I got appointed there, started to serve, and then was appointed as secretary and later on as president. So that role grew in parallel. But yeah, that was my journey. I think that everyone's journey is different, but I think there are so many different ways in which you can navigate your path. And I think the great part of the computer society is it is a glue that connects all of us. So you can always find somebody who can be your mentor, who can guide you, and provide you with the inputs on ways in which you can navigate your way, your path forward, and achieve your goals. So thank you again for asking.
That was a great question. It was nice to hear your journey. You touched on this a little bit, but you first started getting the question from Dahlia was, what's a good first step to getting involved? You sort of touched on it. You wrote a paper. I think you said you started to like peer review papers at conferences. So we do about 200 conferences a year. So whatever your technical area of interest is, I think we would all recommend you can reach out, find your conference and your area of expertise, reach out to them. Um, she showed a slide earlier. We have about, I think it's 45-ish publications. So you can also become a peer reviewer with the publication or the technical committees. Anything else you can think of as a good first step?
Yes, no, I think that's great. Thanks for asking and for your inputs there. I think those were great ideas. I just wanted to mention that, often we see we consider it to be a barrier, we're critical of our own expertise, and we're not sure when it's the right time to get engaged. But I just wanted to say that it's never too early because, you don't really have to wait till you become an expert or have X number of years of experience. You can even join a certain activity as an observer. You can nominate yourself, the different program board areas, different conferences, different publications, standards committees, always looking for volunteers. And there's, volunteers that are doing various different activities or just learning, just watching and learning as well. You can shadow someone, you can participate as an observer in a standards committee. So it's never too early. And, and as you learn by observing and watching and shadowing, you will be able to make that next step and, actively contribute, as you grow, organically through that process. So I just wanted to mention that you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait till you're an expert or have several years of experience before you make that first step.
I love that tip of just, introducing yourself, just getting involved by sitting in meetings, observing, going to the conference and getting to know some of the other volunteers that way. That's a great tip. Let's see, we're running sort of getting towards the end, so we'll probably have only a couple more questions. Let's see. Here's a good one from Anand. What do you think the IEEE Computer Society can do to improve the reach and inclusiveness among sections and OUs where we currently have less representation and membership?
I think this is a very important question. And I think there are several regions, several areas where we don't have as active membership. And I would say that this is where our cooperation and collaboration with our partners and, external societies is really valuable because, it is difficult to drive engagement in every single region or every single area or geography, but by collaboration, we can grow that engagement, we can amplify impact in a region, we can work together. And I really believe in that power. And so with the ad hoc that we are driving this year, for strategic cooperations, both externally as well as internally with our, other partner societies within IEEE, I think that we can certainly help to, drive that gap, somewhat to closure at least, and and improve our participation and engagement in those areas and those regions where we are currently lacking. So, the power of collaboration is great, and strongly strong advocate of that. So that is one of the ways in which we are working to tackle that issue.
Great. Yeah, no, I think collaboration would be a great way to help tackle that. Um, Next question, this was from Joseph. What is the Computer Society's key focus and impact on AI and machine learning?
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for asking. So as we all know, AI is a very important technology for us. This was also highlighted in the technology predictions report. The work that was done by the Computer Society as one of the topmost technology on that list that we prioritize using various criteria. And so a lot of potential for growth in that in that field. As the Computer Society, we are doing various different things, to support innovation in that area in AI, including work and standards. As I mentioned, we have AISC, or the Artificial Intelligence Standards Committee, that is driving new standards development and is also partnering with other SDOs that are driving new standards in the field of AI. We just recently also partnered or started participation with NIST in the different working groups. They have 5 new working groups where we just recently joined to collaborate as well in new AI standards. There's a AI policy committee within IEEE USA that we participate in. There's new conferences, including CVPR, Conference on AI, and many others that are being sponsored by the Computer Society, where we are driving, topics and activities related to AI. But also, I think since AI is relevant for so many different applications, it just kind of runs across all of the different committees and conferences pretty much that we are supporting, because it's kind of the backbone technology that is touching innovation in every other technology, every other discipline today as well. So it's really one that is, that is in scope now of almost, every activity that we are driving.
Yeah, no, there is a lot of cross technology, what's the word I'm looking for? Connectivity, I guess. Like, cybersecurity, and cloud go together with AI, and it all sort of connects at the end, I guess. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah, just one more comment
yeah,
just on that. I think that one that is really important, I think, for the community is the social impact of AI. And so there's some work going on there, some different panel discussions and topics being discussed, to understand, how does that impact our workforce? How does it impact, jobs for tomorrow? What role does AI play, from that standpoint? So we are also supporting those kind of topics and discussions and initiatives.
all right, awesome. I think we'll do one last question, and this is sort of a two-parter, but you brought it up a lot, so I think it's like there are a couple good ones. You talked about a lot. What standards are you working on? And what is the objective of that standard? And maybe just a quick overview of all the computer science standards, what they do, how people can access them.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you so much. So I think that there's a lot of different standards that are being driven out of the Computer Society, as I mentioned, in collaboration with the IEEE Standards Association, the IEEE SA that works with us closely. Edward Aw, who's our VP of Standards, will also delve into that more in detail at one of our upcoming town hall meetings later this year. But there's also, if you go to our website, you will see a list of the various different standards committees that are listed by technology, where there is standards development, work happening, and we continue to grow, but you can also propose a new one. So some of those, as I mentioned, we have the Design Automation Standards Committee, we have the Functional Safety Standards Committee, there's one on blockchain, there's one on AI, there's, several others there on the list. The one that I'm working most closely on is in functional safety, and that's under the Functional Safety Standards Committee. The standard is the IEEE P2851 on functional safety interoperability, where we published our first base standard last year in December. And now we are kicking off a derivative standard for that. So that is the P2851.1 is the next par in that series or family of standards. And that is under review. The project authorization request is under review of the NASCOM this week. Actually, should be on Thursday that we'll know, whether it's approved, and then we'll move forward officially on the development of that one. But there's the 802 standards, which we are very proud of in the Computer Society. That made a huge contribution to our community, and there's a lot of different standards as well. There's new standards in RAS that I'm going to participate in and support moving forward as well. So it's really this huge standardization forest, as we call it, and we have a lot of different ways in which we can contribute and drive new topics, and new development forward.
Yeah, no, 802 is obviously very popular. Every time I go somewhere and they find out where I work, they go, "Oh, 802." So I think it's probably our most well-known standard. So
Absolutely.
that I think is going to draw us to the end. First, I like to thank Jyotika for sharing her vision while she's president this year in 2024. I also like to thank everyone who submitted such a great list of questions. We're sorry we couldn't get to all of them, but there were just way too many. But I think we did a great job trying to cover as many topics as we can. And thank you, Jyotika, for your fantastic answers and some of your very in-depth responses. Just a quick programming note before we sign off and say goodbye. The computer side has a few webinars coming up the next few weeks. The first one is on April 11th. It's a sponsored webinar by Stone Branch. They're going to talk about their 2024 Global State of IT Automation Report. On April 16th, Jyotika mentioned it, Edward Au, who's the chair of the Standards Committee, is going to be doing a similar AMA style webinar. And then on April 24th, we have a career accelerator series. That's titled Leading the Unleadable: How to Manage Mavericks, Cynics, Divas, and Other Difficult People. You'll receive a link to recording and a link to register for all these webinars in a follow-up email later this week. Again, I have to thank Jyotika for spending part of her morning with us, and thank you all for attending. Have a great rest of your day or evening.